the biggest revenue to this institution. How in the hell are you going to tell me you're going to give black students $10,000 for a whole year when it is black people who are bringing you the money to this institution? Talk to me. Not only wicked, but you're thieves, robbers. This is a people that don't have a voice. And every time they get a voice, that voice is stilled by the powers that be, because they fear a voice that they don't control, that black people are listening to. Today, every black leader that we have is being manipulated. So that today we have a beautiful mayor in New York, Mayor Dinkins, and a governor in Virginia, Governor Wilder, and a mayor in Seattle, and a new mayor in Cleveland, and a new mayor in Hartford. And we applaud. And when they write of these black men, they say, these are the new politicians. They are non-threatening. What does that mean? If I am threatening, for what? I don't shoot anybody. I haven't robbed anybody. I'm not planning to. But I'm threatening to those who have lied to you and deceived you, because Jesus said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So now, the truth makes me threatening, and being courageous enough to tell it makes me threatening. What makes a black man non-threatening? Then if he's non-threatening, he don't belong to you. If he's non-threatening, he's their man, not your man. He looks like you, but he works for them. And that's a hell of a condition to be in. To have a man that you putting your hope in because he comes from your people. But he's not working for his people. There is not an Italian here, not a Greek here, not a Polish person, a Jewish person, an Irish person here who would vote for an Irish, an Italian, or a Jew to go anywhere if they didn't represent Jewish or Italian or Irish interests. You know that to be the fact. Why should we then settle for non-threatening politicians who rule and guide for others and do not stand for us when we are the majority who have elected them? Crossover politicians, they call them. You know what a crossover politician is? A crossover politician is like a crossover singer of songs. You know how it is. We start in the ghetto, where we always start. And we start in those honky-tonk joints where we always start. Nobody hears us there but our own people. They pay 75 cents for a beer, $1 for a beer, and we sing, and the people go out and say, man, did you hear Gladys McKnight or Gladys Knight and the Pips? They are something. And after 20 years on what they call the chitlin circuit, Some white person comes in and say, wow. And just like they discovered America with a whole country full of Indians, just like they discovered Australia with the Aborigines there, they discovered Gladys Knight, they discovered Stevie Wonder, they discovered, and then when they discover us, that's when we're known. You see, Farrakhan has been speaking to black people for 36 going on 37 years. Now, I didn't get discovered until the great discoverer, the Christopher Columbus of black leadership, discovered me. I happened to be walking behind the Reverend Jackson, who had just a few years ago been discovered. The very word discovery and the way you use it is a racist kind of term. You're not interested in black people, but when we can make $1 for you, you become interested. When we can move you along, further your aims, your ambitions, your goals, you become interested in black people. But until then, you have no interest in us whatsoever. How dare you say that I'm bad for black-Jewish relations? What black people do you relate to? You don't relate to the black people on 43rd Street in Chicago, 63rd Street on the west side. We don't see a Jew. We don't know what you look like. So what kind of relationship am I messing up for you? You hypocrites. If you set up a black organization, somebody white knocking at the door, let me in. And if you don't let me in, you know, that's a racist group you're in. How many of you belong to Hillel? Ain't no black people belong to that, do you? Why not? Why not? You're not interested in that. You mean to tell me black people cannot have a black organization that speaks to black concerns without white folk in it? That's racism? Please. Yes, you're all practicing reverse racism. No, the problem is you are so frightened to see black people get together. You think we're always conspiring against you. So when we get together, you got to come and try to join us. That's not my subject. I didn't come here to say that. But I just wanted to ventilate some of these things that are on my heart for these hypocrites that write in the newspaper about Farrakhan. You don't know me. You don't know me well enough. Some of you have never heard me, never had a chance to question me. But I'm here tonight, thanks to these students. So I'm gonna hurry through our subject matter. But if you will listen to me, and this is not an anti-white tirade or somebody that's against white people or against Jewish people or against Arabs or Chinese or blacks. That's not the purpose at all. The purpose for truth is not to condemn color, but to condemn wrong. When wrong is condemned by the presence of truth, the wrongdoer in the light of truth has his or her actions or thoughts illuminated for them by the presence of truth. This is mercy from God because it allows us to correct our actions. If our actions go uncorrected, they bring in their wake consequences that may not be good for the actor. Great nations like this one have gone to ruin because people were hateful of truth. They despised that which corrected them. What makes one despise correction? It is arrogance. Arrogance is a state of mind that blinds us to truth. For we begin to feel that we are better than, bigger than, above criticism. How dare you tell me that I'm wrong? Do you know who I am? Truth, frankly, doesn't give a damn. Truth doesn't care who you are. Truth doesn't care what your position is. President is not above truth. Pope is not above truth. Prophet is not above truth. King is not above truth. Truth is the root of the universe. The universe may pass away, but the truth shall remain. So truth is what our lives are given to serve. It is truth that evolves us. It is truth that nurtures us. It is truth that makes us come into the path of God and makes us reflect the Creator. Truth. Falsehood created nothing. Falsehood can never be sustained. So you are at this university paying tens of thousands of dollars, your parents are, for you young students, white and black and Jew and Gentile, to get the truth that you may make a better life for yourself and a better world in which you and we can live. The problem is arrogance blinds us to truth. Look, there is no discipline that you are studying where the person who wrote the book has a knowledge of that discipline that is absolute. God didn't write the textbook. So if Freud wrote it, it has a lot to be desired. Socrates was brilliant, but he wasn't God. So if you read Socrates, if you read Plato, if you read Tillich, whoever you read, if you read Dewey, if you read Machiavelli, whoever you read, not God. So what you are reading is a person who has studied what the Creator created and drew from the creation his perception of the truth and wrote it down in a book and made a dissertation or wrote a thesis. And that became your book. So you're studying from a student who has not yet perfected the discipline. So if you are not trained to stand on the shoulders of the great thinkers, to look beyond them, then you become enslaved to that which is imperfect, and you become non-functional in a world that needs your mind. Listen, students. Listen. You are born for this day, for this time. Your minds are equipped to go beyond a man that wrote 100 years ago, 25 years ago, even 10 years ago. You must never be enslaved to your teachers. You must honor and respect them, but stand on their shoulders and move more toward the absolute. Knowledge is not a stagnant thing. Knowledge is an ever-evolving thing as we move toward perfection. But once you stop the evolutionary process saying, I got it, that's when you lost it. Because what we know, you could put on the head of a common pen and it would have much room left on that pen in comparison to what is in the universe for us yet to learn. The fact that we have a problem with garbage. Just think about that. Big problem. What are you going to do with your garbage? Oh, now, does that sound like trivia? Here's a barge going up and down the Atlantic Ocean filled with garbage, trying to find some place to dump it. Now, for 20 years, it's Earth Day. Isn't that wonderful? At last, after you all been in power all these years, you've learned now, oh my God, we better do something to protect the earth. The Native American could have told you that the day you met them. The Native Americans are the number one protectors of the environment. All their writings, all their speeches, all their old prophecies deal with environment. Why didn't we learn from them? Well, after all, I mean, they're nothing but savages, heathens. We are the great Christians who came to civilize these savages and teach them about the Lord Jesus Christ. You mean the Lord Jesus Christ didn't hip you all to environment? You mean one who came to lead and guide us into all truth didn't tell you to protect the earth? But greed, you see, arrogance, cause you to pollute the earth, pollute the air, pollute the water. Now you have a problem with garbage. But of course, you are studying economics. Isn't that interesting? And the Creator has no problem with anything. He recycles everything. What a masterful economist. But of course, God, let's leave him out of this, because what does God know? You put your little cheap knowledge above the knowledge of the Creator. And that's why you're in the condition that you're in. Let me throw something out at our students. Beloved students, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us about pride. Because we get so little and then we begin to strut. Just a little degree. What did you get? Oh, I have my bachelor's. Which one? The BS or the BA? Well, more the BS than the BA. But one of those degrees I have. Now we can't stand you. Whoa. You put it on the wall. And what do you have? I have my master's. Yes. And which one do you have, Professor? Listen, I have 2 PhDs. And what does that make you? I am a doctor. Good. Doctor, if you are the doctor, what did you get your doctorate in? Well, I got my doctorate in sociology. Then why can't you heal the society? You see, the society presents you with problems that's beyond your degree. Isn't that right, doctor? Talk to me, doctor.
Hello, brothers and sisters. Now, just to go straight to the point and without beating around the bush, I really want to say this to all who are watching this video. We only have one race in the world, and that race is human race. We've had the urge of dividing people into races so that some could feel so superior and some of them could be infuriated. And this has been happening over time. And those people who were greatly affected were black people from Africa. And not just in Africa, and those who were taken to the diaspora as slaves. We must remind ourselves where we are coming from and where we are heading to. So many things happen, and we lose, or we really forget to keep track of who we are and where we are heading to. If we are to remember the things that have been done to black people, if we were to remember the things that have been done to Africa, we could be all in a rage. We could be so raged with a group of people. But we do not want to be that aggressive, And that's why we've been talking about economic empowerment and bringing the people together. It is good for people to unite, because it is in unity that people realize their potentials. And it is in unity that people realize how much they could achieve. So a lot has been said about Africa. We've been seeing great leaders in Africa being eliminated. We saw Muammar Gaddafi being eliminated. Africa just watched. We saw people like Thomas Sankara were eliminated in Africa. Africa just watched. We saw people like Patrice Lumumba of Congo being eliminated. Africa just watched. And when a great African leader was rising up just in Ghana, what did they do? They came ahead and tried to change the whole thing. And they made it look so bad that even people thought Kwame Nkrumah was so bad, The president who wanted to unite Africa, the first president who wanted to unite Africa. We even called for the African unity. And when Ghana got its independence in 1957, he went ahead and said, the independence of Ghana means nothing if the whole of Africa is still enslaved. And when he became the first president of Ghana, his first priority was to make sure the whole of Africa was liberated. And he even traveled around Africa trying to unite Africa. And they turned the whole people against him. We watched. We never said anything. So After they have done all these things, the latest was Muammar Gaddafi and the president of Tanzania. Some people think they can have control of black people. Some systems in the world have been set to make sure that Africa is under their colonial chains, that we will never get out of this alive, you know. But to their utter surprise, Africa is rising and black people are coming together. We are now having leaders who are saying the truth in Africa. We are having leaders, visionary leaders, who are trying to address whatever is happening in Africa right now. If things or if history was to be written in Africa, the president of Burkina Faso won't be left aside. And if history was to be written in Africa, great leaders like Muammar Gaddafi will have 1 or 2 chapters. And if history was still to be written about the great people of Africa and the continent, the motherland, the cradle of humankind, Patrice Lumumba, Kwame Nkrumah will still have a place. So if we want to get ourselves together, just like Louis Farrakhan says, we must first hold our leaders accountable. The leaders in the diaspora have sold their people to the same systems that are oppressing their people. We had a black president in the US. Isn't that enough to say that black people have risen from nowhere to somewhere? But did black people really benefit with the leadership of a black person in the US? What happens? It is during Obama's time that Muammar Gaddafi was brutally assassinated in Africa, and they celebrated. He is the president who brought the first satellite in Africa. Initially, you couldn't make a call in Africa because you are making a call in Africa, then it goes to Europe, then the waves will be sent back to where you are calling. Now, they will listen to everything that Africans were planning, even the African presidents. And it was so easy to track them and trap them at the same time. And Muammar Gaddafi realized that Africa really needed a satellite. And he gave 70% of the money that was needed to install the satellite, to buy the satellite and put in Africa. And that's when calls in Africa started being cheap and so easy. Like, it's just some seconds away and you're talking to a person from the other side of the world. He is the first president who made education free from kindergarten to the highest level. And if you are to study abroad, a course that was not offered in Libya, what did he do? The government will fully sponsor you to any place of the world you are going to study. Electricity was free. Water was free because he initiated the largest irrigation scheme in the world. Right? So many things were free. Fertilizer was free. People were being given tractors to go into the farms and cultivate. Gasoline was almost free. You could fill your tank with $1. So many things. And that is a man who was called a dictator and a man who was killing his own people. What did they do to him? They went ahead and did whatever they did. Now, go look at Libya. Go look that part of Africa right now. They are suffering. You can see from the internet. Then, just to justify whatever they say they did, they will send their media, mainstream media there. Then the people they'll get some few people who are paid to say, we are suffering, but we are okay. We have democracy. Who told you democracy is working in Africa? Democracy was the only way they could get into Africa and get into your government, install malls into your government, and have puppets as your leaders through democracy. When they came to Africa 200 years back, 300 years back, we had kings, we had chiefs, and Africa was fairly doing well. We had our own way of leadership. And the administrations in Africa were doing well because we had kings who were very strong at the moment, and they were doing all they could to protect their territories and protect their people. We had armies without guns, and we were peaceful. They brought democracy to Africa. Come see Africa. 60 years. Most countries in Africa are 60 years away from independence after they got independence. No roads, malnutrition, corruption, bad leadership, embezzlement of public funds, misuse of public resources. You can name them all. Who brought that to Africa? We all know who brought that. Who keeps on steering and meddling into the affairs of the African continent, calling for democracy whenever they feel they are very threatened. They come to Africa, and in most African countries in the West, in Central, Eastern, and Southern, to claim they are bringing democracy and they are safeguarding us from terrorists. Recently, they had some military gears for Ghana. Ghana were given some military. They were as a gift by the US to fight terrorists. Do you know where the terrorists come from? When they wanted to eliminate Muammar Gaddafi, they lacked people who could do that. They brought in so many Arabs. They were paid, and some of them did whatever they did. Later on, they never received whatever they were promised, the Arabs, so many of them. Then they started walking to those countries, crossing borders and going to those countries that near Libya. And since then, they say that we have terrorists in Africa, and who brought the terrorists in Africa? Then they come to fight their terrorists. They bring along many armies. They build their military bases. And guess who says yes to that? You are leaders in Africa. Those puppets. And when they disagree with you, or when you disagree with them, they either eliminate you or they turn you against the backs of the people. This has been happening in Africa. It's the sad reality. Africa must wake up. And the only way to do this is by telling the people the truth. Do you know why it was so easy for them to eliminate the people I just mentioned? Africans didn't know the truth. They were being told Muammar Gaddafi is a terrorist who kills his own people, who has denied his people the right to basic education, the right to basic and freedoms of all manner of things they could have said at that time. And people believed them because we had no internet. And so it was easy for them to write on the newspapers and spread news so fast because they were the mainstream media. When that happened, Africa lost big because Muammar Gaddafi was the absolute true son of the soil of Africa. The man who was willing to die for the African continent to be great, the man who died for his own country as a hero. But some of you who are watching this video still up to date believe the man was a dictator, right? Some of you still believe up to date that the man committed a lot of initious things that they said about him, of which they were not true. Those who are brave enough in Africa now, they know the truth. Those who are brave enough who are watching this video now know the truth. The truth has been exposed. Even one of their own politicians came out to admit whatever they did to that man. And he said the only thing that Muammar Gaddafi did is standing by his own people and saying no to the Western countries for taking out their gold and their gasoline. Isn't that true? If that is not true enough, you still believe that that man was bad. You still believe that Ibrahim Traore is bad. Who will save you if the puppets in your own countries cannot do that? They are CIA agents who work for the interest of some people, you know. Africa, who bewitched us. Black people, who bewitched us. We must wake up. We must talk the truth. So many things have been happening in Africa just because of the ignorance of the black man. Sometimes we get so emotional because African culture has been eroded. African sovereignty has been eroded. African mineral resources have been exploited under our watch. We must say enough is enough. And we must bring the people who have done this to book. Judgment will have it so harsh on them. We can say more. We can say it day and night. But if we do not change, we're going to perish. And we are going to perish so bad because the division that exists among black people is whatever has made us so retarded today. Thank you so much for having taken the time to watch this video. It is so emotional talking about Africa and the black people and how they have been oppressed.